back. So Brad's going to take you through the security features, alarm features in the product that we'll be looking at releasing probably around the first quarter of next year. You're going to see the very first cut of the pre-production version of the software. So you get a flavour for what it does, how it integrates with the rest of the UI. And today's very much about solutions as well. So a lot of the stuff we've developed in the last sort of 12 to 18 months has been not just around traditional access control, but because we've developed a platform, we can use that to leverage other features, other innovative solutions. Brad will take you through a couple, and Heath will take you through a sort of a unique sort of sub-product that we've developed as well. So today is about sort of security, access control, and solutions. I won't yatter on anymore. I will encourage you to ask questions. Brad, as I said, is going to take you through sort of key latest features of the product. Heath's going to take you through a sub-product. And then at the end, John is going to take you through, who's our BDM, is going to take you through our partner program. So without further ado, you good to go?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay, so just to give you an overview of the Prescient system, we have, it starts as a 4-door controller. So those two top boards on there are the DN4s. Yep, so all of the controllers operate in mesh type architecture, which means that all of the controllers communicate with each other over your network, and they provide a backup of each other across the system as well, including any expansion devices that are on the system. So those two DN4s, if we took one of them out and put a new one in, the other DN4 in there would then adopt it into the system and give it all its, instructions as to how it's meant to operate. So there's full redundancy across the network. So obviously, if you've just got a single controller system, you'd have to do a separate backup. But if you've got multiple controllers, the other controllers in the system are the backup. So you can have up to 64 controllers in the mesh. So 256 doors, that's 100,000 users and 1 million events. So the 100,000 users is 100,000 users, not 100,000 credentials. So users can have multiple pins, multiple cards, and as we'll see, they can also have license plates as a credential in the system. So when we add in the 2-door expanders, so we've got this 2-door expander here. We've got an NPB or a NIDAC peripheral bus, which is an RS405 bus. So we've got additional 2 doors, and we've got a couple of auxiliary relays on there as well, if you want to, trigger a door force open alarm or something like that. And there's also an 8-input, 8-output expander, so for lift control and things like that. So once you add in additional, 2-door expanders, 8 IO expanders, the capacity of the system is well beyond that 256 doors. You can go up to multiples of hundreds of doors and thousands of inputs. Now, because each DN4 has a computer basically on board, it's a very powerful system, and the workload is shared amongst all the controllers on the system. So it means because there's a computer on each one, we can do a lot more with the system, as we'll go into soon. Now, with expansion, each DN4 basically becomes a node that is hosting a mini system embedded within the larger architecture of the Prescient system mesh. Now it's easy to adopt into the system, and I'm logged into the same controller twice by the looks. Sorry, one thing just to give you a bit of a preview as well, the Gravity platform, so all the controllers that we're playing with today we're reaching them through the Gravity platform, which is a cloud system, which I'll talk about in a bit. So these are all live sites. So this is a demo site that I've got. It's that panel there. So that panel is going out to the internet and to the cloud and coming back again. So you can see it's pretty responsive. So with the expansion, we have expansion bus. So all of the devices are learned into the system by the serial number. So you just do a scan of the bus, it will pick up any devices. You can see that every device has a unique serial number. So there's no dip switches or anything like that you need to set. You just learn them in. The system knows which main controller they're attached to, and away you go. You just learn them in and start adding on your doors and lifts, lift cars and so forth as well. So what else have we got next? CCTV. So last year we added CCTV into the system, RTSP. So at the moment we do it with the Digital Watchdog, Hanwha, WiseNet Wave, NX Witness. They're always systems are basically the same. They operate on the same Wasabi cloud, the VMSs. So you can have as many VMSs in the system as you want. And basically the system, we retrieve the information from the VMS. So you don't have to add it into, you don't have to add in your camera names or anything like that. We pull it all from the VMS. So whatever you name your camera in the VMS, that's what it will be in our system. And then you can attach the cameras to any device in the system, be it a door or a lift or an alarm area. So you can just use it as a video verification tool if there's an alarm event or if there's a door access event or something like that. You can also live stream it as well. So one of the enhancements that we have done with the CCTV is, I don't know why this keeps changing out of presentation mode because it's a bit annoying. CCTV integration enhancement. So with the next pass on the CCTV, you'll be able to have a view of multiple cameras. So you can attach multiple cameras to a door. So you could have one camera outside the door, one inside the door. You can have multiple cameras in an alarm area. So you can just, there'll be a carousel down the bottom here. You can just click on a camera and it will bring it up into this main screen. So what we will also be doing is currently the camera view sits on top of the screen. It's just there, you can't move it. So the next pass on that is to create that as a widget. So then it'll be a pop-out widget. You can pick it up. You can put it down in the bottom corner of your screen. So then you can use your screen to review events, and so you could have a live stream running down in the bottom corner here while you're adding in cards or going through your event history and so forth. Also, we are working on a new CCTV integration partner, which will be the Hike Connect. So that will be moving away from a VMS system. So you'll be able to, anything basically that goes on the Hike Connect system, we'll be able to use you'll be able to integrate with your Prescient system. So either individual cameras or NVRs, probably intercoms and stuff as well, I would imagine. Anything that goes on that Hike Connect platform. Something we've also added in to the system now is to have license plates through ANPR cameras as a credential. So at the moment you can have pins, you can have cards, now you can have license plates as well. So as I mentioned before, a user can have as many pins and cards and whatevers as you want. So it's 100,000 users with multiple credentials. So we've got one here, license plate, which is my car license plate. In the background, the system converts that into a WeGAN site code and card number. So any ANPR camera that outputs WeGAN can be added into the system just as like a normal Prox card reader or something. So when the camera sees your license plate, it will just spit out a WeGAN site code and card number, and if it matches that, you're in the door or in the gate. So it means you don't have to manage white lists in cameras and stuff like that. It's just a lot easier to, get audit trails and all that sort of stuff as well, because it's all just being managed through one system, not multiple systems. A usage example for this kind of feature is in the automation of accommodation booking, where the guest's PIN code is automatically generated by their number plate details when they go online to book. And Heath will talk a little bit about an integration we've done with a booking partner. And so what the system will do in the background is just generate a PIN code from their license plate. They get sent a text message. When they roll up to the site, the camera sees their number plate, lets them in, and any keypads around the place, they've already got their PIN number. It's all magically happens in the background, which people seem to really appreciate that sort of automatic stuff happening with the least interaction as possible with other human beings. Now, another feature that we added in last year, which we've improved upon as well, is automations. Wrong controller. Here we go. Maybe it's that one. No, it's not that one. Maybe I killed it. We'll go to that one. So this is just an example, just to give you an example of one we did for our distributor up in Sydney. That's okay. Keep going. There we go. Automations. So the scenario that this automation was created for, it's for a site down on the docks or somewhere around there. They have a crane operator who requires a truck driver to be in a secure cage while he's loading and unloading a truck. So there's a reader to arm the system, which can only be armed when the truck driver is in the secure cage. And that secure cage is monitored by a reed switch on the door that acts as a presence detection input. So they have coloured beacons, a red and a green, and a siren that alert the crane driver as to the status of the cage, if it's armed or secure, or if there's a breach. If the door is open while the system's armed and the crane driver is alerted by a siren and a flashing beacon, so he knows that the guy who's meant to be in there is now in a potentially hazardous environment. And this solution was required because of serious safety breaches at the plant. The site has multiple crane and cage workstations, all of which can be connected by DN4s throughout the site by the Prescient DN4 mesh and integrated into a larger site-wide access control and alarm system. So if we just we can get a look at the automation summaries. So it just gives you a sort of plain English readout of when any user has access granted. If the door is locked and closed, then do these different things. So part of what we also did for him was to create the wiring diagrams and so forth. So we did all the automation work and we did all the technical diagrams that he then gives to his client as part of their as-builts. So we're more than happy to do all this sort of work for you guys, if it's going to help you guys get over the line with the job, and also for us to get our system out there as well. With the Prescient system and with automation, if we go to create a new automation, so any event that's in the system can be used as a trigger for an automation. We've only exposed so many of them here because they're kind of like the ones that are the most common usage or that people have specifically requested. If there's an event that's in the system that's not exposed, you can speak to the dev guys here about having that exposed and using that as a trigger for your automation. And I can't scroll, I'll hide that. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is something that sets we believe makes our system more usable in the current environment where people want to do integration work with other systems, nurse call systems, lift interfacing and stuff like that. And that's our API gateway. And we'll just get Heath up to have a bit of a chat about that. Take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name's Heath, and I don't know if it's been said before, and I'm sure I may have met some of you. Apologies if I don't remember. My memory is escaping me. It happens too fast. So, as I said, my name's Heath, and I have the pleasure of working with the development team here at NIDAC and with the sales team. They let me annoy them from time to time. What I do is to help put together solutions for issues that you guys bring to our attention, problems that need solving, and products that are made to solve them in fun and new ways. So today I want to talk about the Prescient API Gateway, which is a product which serves a very unique purpose in our lineup and is intended to do more than just solving a simple hardware problem, as we've done numerous times before, actually to enable some of our biggest power users to find and develop their own business models, which is really exciting. Next, please. So for us, this begins with the DN4, which is obviously it's our access control product for commercial applications. When developing the DN4 and settling on the mesh network architecture, we saw all the benefits that it provides to installers, from security to communication to redundancy, as an amazing solution that we could bring to market. But at the same time, what's grown from that and what's become evident from being out there in the market is the urgent need to provide a way for partners to utilize our product to develop turnkey solutions and to be able to layer their own business models on top where appropriate, so that the end client gets explicitly what they ask for, and also to an extent that people can be innovative with what they're doing with their business these days, which is really necessary. Next. So first of all, just need to clarify what it is. A bit like the Prescient, it is actually a embedded edge device where the compute and the application all running on the one thing. So you buy it from us, you're buying something that is like the Prescient mix of hardware and software. It also serves as the endpoint for you to integrate with. So for every site that you have, the API gateway represents the way to communicate with the site from any third-party system anywhere. It also represents an aspect of separating systems and security, which we think is also very important. It's something that a lot of other products have skipped over, is that step of ensuring that you can integrate with the product, but that the access control system and the intrusion system remains resilient and the communications remain secured. Next, please. So what are we trying to do with it? Well, the answer is, we want to work with people. Ultimately, that's what it came down to. When we first put Prescient to market, some of our best customers came back and said, "That's awesome. I see this product, and look, can you do something with it? Because I've got this opportunity over here, and I know people, and they want to go and do this." Well, we can help. We've got 80% of the how. And sometimes some of our partners are willing to bring up the 20% to build something on top and just make it into something special. The next step is to enhance the product through that, because the benefit for us is kind of inherent. If people are out there developing solutions based on our product, then that widens what all of you guys have to offer your customers. Not only is it just a premium access control product, it offers you redundancy and security and features and a modern user experience, all this other lovely stuff we've been talking about for 3 years. But you also have turnkey solutions built on top of that, like one example that I will give you at the end of this particular segment. And then finally, we want to enable some of those power users to be able to actually build it into how they sell the product and how they can drive revenue from it, because we think that's an important option people should have as well. Next, please. So as I said, there's a great example of exactly how this is being done, and that's automated accommodation. who is our first onboarded integration partner for the Prescient product that I can talk about with you at least. So these guys have a very simple business model. They reckon that hospitality is kind of reaching a point of divergence in the market. In the city environment, hotels make enough money and have enough rollover that and have enough labour market to draw upon that staffing is easy. The problem is that neither of the guys who own the business nor their dozens of customers own hotels in the city. They own hotels in everywhere but the city. And their problem is they can't find staff. When they can find staff, it's extremely expensive, and it provides the biggest headwind to their ventures in the hospitality industry. Their solution, just automate it end to end. What do they find? Well, they found that the customers enjoyed the experience more. They didn't like having to wait around and hang out by the reception the whole time. They found just being able to use their license plate to access the site and then use a PIN code to operate the door. It's just one smooth experience, and then begin enjoying the holiday instead of waiting around for someone to do paperwork, typing up 1 word per minute. And their customers, well, ultimately the editors, they kept buying the system. But automated accommodation was stuck. They got hemmed into a scenario where they were forced to sell a hardware solution that wasn't easy to support or wasn't supported in Australia, had a number of faults in it, and limited their available market to small scale sites. So we've partnered with Automated Accommodation, and they're using our API gateway to deploy this solution to a number of hotels around Australia with a couple of key clients to prove something, to prove that you can automate the experience of being a guest at these hotels and getting your PINs and all of what their solution delivers. And we can deliver alongside it building management, audit trails, access for cleaners, access to common areas, all the things that their original solution couldn't do. And beyond that, the CCTV integration, the general awareness, and the audit trails is what's arming them to tackle jobs against larger clients. They're now going, okay, well, I want to approach Comfort Inns, I want to approach Best Western, because this solution can scale and it's secured as we know, their requirements are evolving in those departments. Through the API gateway, these are the kinds of solutions that we want to deliver. We want to work with integration partners to help devise these turnkey solutions aimed at particular markets emerging or existing, and to help them improve what they're offering their customers. And as part of that, integrators are key. You are out there and you hear what's on the ground, and will be the first in line to help deliver these solutions too. So that is the API gateway. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Someone who we were hoping was going to be here, actually, they've done API integration with Nurse Call. So a lot of our gear is going into aged care, nursing homes and stuff like that. Particularly a lot of sites that have like a lot of the old Presco Pack 1s and PRDAs and stuff, because it's an easy upgrade. All your peripherals out in the field stay there. You just replace the head end. So they've done integration with a Nurse Call system. So if there's a door open, it comes up on the the nurse's display. Oh, that might be him now. Yeah. I was just Daniel. I was just telling the guys about we've done.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, just
must be bored.
Coffee.
Yeah, that'll be fine for me.
I was just mentioning the Nurse Call integration with the DN4 and So, okay. So the next thing we probably want to have a look at is kill some of these. I think is the alarm stuff, and what I'm going to do is. Okay, so this is the first pass of the alarm or intrusion. So with the Prescient system, everything is firmware upgrades. You don't have to go out and buy a separate board, or whatever you've got now doesn't automatically become redundant, or whatever. Everything we do with the Prescient system, when you do an upgrade, a firmware upgrade, you get all the features. So if you've got a system out there that's only doing access control at the moment, early next year you'll be able to upgrade it to an alarm system. So when you can add input, output expanders and so forth, so for extra zones and all that sort of stuff. So caveat: this is the first pass of the alarm system. It's not an official release. So the features and the way we name features will be fine-tuned between now and the official release. So there might be a couple of names of features that you think don't sound quite right. We'll get all that sorted. So this is the sort of landing page for the areas. You can have as many areas as you want. There's no restriction on areas. So if we just have a quick look, there's an export zone CSV. So once you've created all your zones, you can just export it as a CSV and send it to the control room or whatever you want to do. There's also a live status button, so that will give us the live status of all the different inputs and so forth. It will tell you if they're isolated or if, so I've got an isolated zone here. So that just tells you in real time what's happening. So if someone, opened walked through it past a PIR, it'd come up on the screen as an unsealed zone. So if we have a look at just the basic setup of this area, any input that's included in the area has to be monitored. So you can set up your own monitoring in the controller. So when I say monitoring, I'm sorry, end of line monitored. So when you set up your controller, you can choose what your end of line resistors are from a preset list, or you can create your own custom end of line. So if you're coming across some weird kind of panel that's got some strange resistor values. So that's on a panel by panel basis. That's not a system-wide setting, it's a per panel setting. And we go back to areas. Okay, so you can set your entry delay. So we've got a couple of settings here. Door disarm, so if there's a door that's on the perimeter of the area, when you badge your card, it disarms the area. Fail to arm, you can choose to either just force arm the system or not arm the system at all. And you can tell the system if there's any entry-exit zones in this area. Entry delay, exit delay, so on and so forth. So there's a key switch zone. So the key switch zone that we're using here is one of our is an access control door that's got a reader, and you double badge to arm the system and just single badge to disarm the system. Like throughout the rest of the system, we have all the wiring diagrams here. So your techs, when they're out in the field, if they're not familiar with how to do a dual end of line, it pretty much holds their hand for them and shows them what the wiring diagram is. So just sort of, as much information as we can give to people in the system. So when they mouse over that, it tells them what the input should be, normally closed. So we've got our presence detection zones, which are, your alarm zones. So zone 1, you can have entry, exit, you can have handover zones, or you can have instant zones. It's all, pretty stock standard sort of thing. And there's a couple of extra modes here, perimeter and night. They're kind of, I guess, bottom line is they're kind of the same thing, one and the same thing really. So zones can be in they can be in your full area. The zone can be in a perimeter area and a night area, so you can have zones in multiple sort of areas. There's a zone sensitivity slider. So with 4, that's the critical, so that's a single trigger, so it might be a seismic sensor or something like that. And there's other sort of settings. I don't understand all the maths behind it, but basically, if you've got if you're experimenting with a zone that's giving you trouble, you can try other settings. And if worst case scenario, you can just isolate it. Okay. Cancel. And then always arm zone, the 24-hour zone. So again, this is just the first pass. There'll be distinction between like a duress and like medical duress or fire alarm and that sort of thing. And again, you can isolate that. So you can see now, once you've gone back to that screen, that number there, that's the reporting ID. That's the contact ID reporting number. So it's just for information. You can't change it in the system. It just is what it is, but at least it'll give you some idea. And when if you do a CSV export of the zone list, it gives you the contact ID reporting number as well as part of that CSV. So readers, that will probably, I imagine that will be changed to arming readers or arming station or something like that. That's basically what it is. It's just a reader that is a dedicated disarm point. Outputs for sirens and strobes. So the doors here, that's a door that's an access control door that you're using for arming and disarming. So double badge arming, single badge disarming. And there's also levels here if there's a lift system in the building and the area is in the same sort of on the same level as the lift system. So I'll go back areas. So we can arm disarm through the desktop. The phone app will be the primary control interface for the system, with arming and disarming also controlled by the reader, as I've shown you, or an access control reader or a dedicated arming reader. The phone app the release of the phone app will roughly align with the full public release of the alarm function next year, early next year. So we're sort of really only months away now. So you can arm it through here. You can give it a full arm. So if you want to bypass any zones, you can bypass them. Everything looks normal, so you can just arm the system. So it's now telling us that it's fully armed. So this is a live status screen. So just a little live demo. Fingers crossed. So it's gone into alarm. So I can just use my card to badge it, and it turns back to disarm. So it works.
Oh, no,
It's not just, we're not just conning people or bluffing or whatever. So that's sort of the rough guts of the intrusion. The next major thing is Gravity, which is our remote cloud service. So it's how you can connect to all your different sites on one platform. So you can do it from your office or, on top of Mount Everest if you've got an internet connection there. So with the Gravity platform, it's a reverse proxy tunnel. Don't ask me to give you how that works. I'm not sure. I've just been told. What it basically means is that your devices they're not visible to the internet. So with other systems, if you know the serial number of the panel, you can type it into a web browser and you can hit other people's panels on the internet. So you can't do that with our system. Heath probably, he's gone.
He's had to talk out.
Oh, Anthony might be able to explain a little bit better how that reverse proxy tunnel works. Yes or no? No?
Just imagine it as a black box that will route your traffic securely. So without, having to port forward and expose your IP addresses.
Yeah. So we use Cloudflare as the provider for the tunnel. So it's a military grade, encryption. It's the highest level of encryption, basically. So it's fully secured, which is becoming more and more important. So also something to note, I guess, as well with the DN4s, if they're on the network, the DN4s use the TLS 1.3 communication between controllers. So again, it's a secure method of communication. The TLS 1.3 is still secure. So a real focus of the system overall is security. And that's becoming more and more important with people, concerned about, hacking and all that sort of stuff that's going on nowadays. So it's basically the way it's working at the moment, or the way we'll work. Sorry, at the moment, the RCS is available by invitation. So if you want to get a connection, you just let us know. When it goes to full public release, people will be able to sign up for it on the internet. But at the moment, we have to manually create, your logins and stuff. The installer and system integrators get a free account. You don't have to pay for your account. You can have as many clients on there as you want. You can have as many sites and panels and whatnot. If your end user or the consumer of the system wants a remote desktop connection or an app to get onto the system, that will be on a subscription basis. So that will be something that you can on-sell to them as a service. You can bundle it into a service agreement. It'll only be it'll be sort of within market rates of what that cost is. The mobile app for Gravity and remote desktop access to Gravity for the end consumer will the release of them will align with the official release of Intrusion early next year. It'll be in the first quarter of next year. But as I said, access to Gravity for installers and system integrators is available now. So we can set up an account for you now. You can connect the DM4 to it and start playing around with it. The big thing for us is that going forward, all of our future product development will have Gravity as the central platform, including the next generation of communications products. So this Gravity, the Prescient's the first device that will be on the Gravity RCS. The next cab off the rank after that is Presco Avenger, which is basically a Presco Lite product. Prescient Lite, sorry. So it'll sit between your Pack 1s, Pack 2s and the full Prescient system. It'll be access control for 8 doors or so with some pre-built automations and slimmed down functionality like schedules, but as an app-first product. So the end user will control it through the app. It's the sort of product that will be ideal for gate openers and small Airbnb operators and things like that. So that's kind of the full update of where we are at the moment.